Offside. Out of bounds. Welcome to Offside and Out of Bounds. I am Junior. Thank you for joining us from Spotify, Apple, or the podcast platform of your choice. Today, we are going to bring you the final episode of our 2021 MLB season preview. We have been previewing each division in baseball over the last 5 days, and today we are previewing our last division, the NL West. Tonight, please join us on our YouTube channel at Offside and Out of Bounds, where myself and my partner in crime at Offside Adam are going to break down the entire league, name our division winners, league winners, and World Series champs, and we'll give you who we're leaning for on the trophies, Cy Young, Hank Aaron, Silver Slugger. It will be a little bit of a different format, but very enjoyable, very insightful. So our format over the last 5 days during these division previews has been, we break down the team, who they've added, who they've lost, our concerns, where things are going to go wrong, what they need to do to stay competitive, who we're excited to watch, who we aren't excited to watch, and where we think they're going to finish. Let's go! Yeah, right. Come on, man. Everybody knows. Dodgers page is the best page on IG. The Los Angeles Dodgers, World Series champs. Breaking this team down, they are currently sitting in the top spot of the power rankings at number 1, and they've had a busy offseason. They've lost some role players, but have added some depth to a pretty strong pitching staff. The additions, Brandon Morrow, Tommy Canley, and of course, Trevor Bauer. Subtractions, they did some great work to keep as much of this team intact, but they did lose Kiki Hernandez and Jock Peterson. Our concerns, don't really have major concerns for this team outside of their health. They definitely need to keep an eye on everyone and make certain that everyone's healthy coming into spring, coming into the season, and staying healthy throughout the year. Where things can go wrong. You know, if they aren't healthy, that's pretty much the only thing that I can see derailing this juggernaut. What they need to stay competitive. With the starting five of Kershaw, Bauer, Buehler, Urias, and Price, I mean, any team that has David Price as their fifth starter is definitely primed for a long, deep run into the type of baseball that matters in October. Player excited to watch. With a talent-rich team like this, it's hard to choose just one. But if I had to, I'd kind of go off the board and say Max Muncy or Will Smith. I really like the bats that both of these guys bring, and the IQ in these kids is absolutely off the charts. Who I'm not excited to watch. Their competition. Other than the epic clashes that should happen between them and the Padres this season, watching them beat up on Colorado and San Fran and Milwaukee and Pittsburgh this year, it's not going to be that exciting. Where they're going to finish, if they stay healthy, and let's be middle of the road on this, Kershaw and Price have both had their issues staying healthy in the past, as well as a few of their position players. So health is going to be that major concern all year long. If they can stay healthy, it's going to be an interesting race for the division, and we can see them in that 100-win range. 60% of the time. It works every time. The San Diego Padres. Breaking down the team, they're currently sitting in the 2 spot of the preseason power rankings. Obviously behind the Dodgers, and they've also been keeping as busy as Big Brother Dodger has over the summer. The additions they brought in, they did extend Tatis to a monster contract. Mark Melancon, Joe Musgrove, Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Nick Birdie, and they restructured Clevenger's contract. Now, subtractions, they didn't lose much other than Mitch Moreland, Garrett Richards, Kirby Yates, and Zach Davies, most of them through trade. Our concerns with this team, the outfield and their offensive production and health. Outside of Trent Grisham, there isn't a whole lot there except for an aging Will Myers that has been somewhat steady with low-end production. And with 9 guys currently in the infirmary, they are going to need to get better at dealing with those issues, as it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot in the cupboards to step in if they do lose the production of one of their stars. Where things can go wrong. They brought in a lot of expensive pitching this year with Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, and still have kind of Clevenger in those peripherals. If health becomes an issue or they don't get the production that they need out of the investment that they've made, they're going to be playing catch-up with the Dodgers. And the way the Dodgers are built, it's going to be tough to catch them. What they need to stay competitive. They need to stay healthy. And they're going to have to find a way to get some offensive production out of that outfield, as it can't just squarely be on Tatis, Machado, and Hosmer. They do have a couple of other pieces that might add a bit, but they definitely got to get more of an offense that's spread out. Player we're excited to watch. Obviously with the way he is playing right now, Tatis Jr. I'm certain anyone would bring up his name if you mentioned this team's name. Going to be nice to see what he's going to do this year. Who I'm not excited to watch, Manny Machado. Just something about him I don't like. Where they're going to finish. They will be in the second spot. Health is going to dictate how close to the Dodgers they get, but we can see them in the high 90s and maybe a little bit over the century mark in terms of total wins. Look, I'm just a biochemist. Most of the time I work in a glass jar and lead a very uneventful life. I drive a Volvo, a beige one, but what I'm dealing with here is one of the most deadly substances the Earth has ever known. So what you say, you cut me some friggin' slack! San Francisco Giants. Coming in the season, they missed the playoffs last year, breaking this team down, coming in currently at the number 21 spot in the preseason power rankings. The additions they brought in this offseason were Justin Smoke, Alex Wood, Tommy La Stella, Shun Yamaguchi, Aaron Sanchez, Justin Bour, and Scott Kashmir. The subtractions. Nothing of mass that really moves the needle other than a few guys off their 40-man roster. Our concerns, pitching and pitching. Starting pitching, bullpen, middle, long, and closing. Top to bottom, the starting rotation and bullpen. If I was playing MLB The Show in GM mode right now, I would completely wipe away the entire staff and start from scratch. Where things can go wrong. Health. With a lot of guys at that 30 age as well as over that mark, health is most doubtably going to be an issue here. They need to stay healthy, and if they have visions of a wild card, which is pretty much a big shot at this point, they're definitely going to need a lot of contributions from that pitching staff. What they need to stay competitive. This team does have some pretty strong youngsters in the mix in Yastrzemski, Dubon, and Bart. If they can get some production to go along with Longoria, La Stella, Crawford, and Belt, they could be in a good spot. Player we're excited to watch. I think that the Tommy La Stella pickup was absolutely brilliant for them. Dynamic infielder that's going to solidify the middle of that infield for them. So we're definitely excited to see what he does here. Who I'm not excited to watch. I'm not excited to watch any of their pitching. None of it. Starters, bullpen, closers, none of them. Where are they going to finish? There's a good chance that they could be competing for a wild card, but worst case scenario, they finish third, and that's only because the last two teams in this division are absolute heaps. We can see them in the mid-70s for win totals. The Colorado Rockies, 26-34, and missed the playoffs. Breaking this team down, they are currently sitting at the number 28 spot on the preseason power rankings list, and they were very busy this offseason doing a lot of work trying to become the worst team in baseball. We feel here that they've done a great job at it. The additions, Greg Bird, CJ Cron. The subtractions, Nolan Arenado, Kevin Pillar, Matt Kemp, Drew Butera. Our concerns, there's too many to list. Almost a minus 80 run differential last year in a shortened season. And without Arenado, that is going to go way up. Where things can go wrong. They already did the minute that this team had traded Arenado for a pitching machine and used BP balls. They're going to get worse. What they need to stay competitive. They might be competitive if every team in the division lost their starting pitching and their offense was allowed to hit off of tees. Player excited to watch. Trevor Story, hands down, is pretty much the quality that this team has remaining on their already bare cupboards. Hopefully they'll move him at the deadline so he can get on with his career. Who I'm not excited to watch, that would be Charlie Blackmon. He's wasting the quality years he's got left on a team that is atrocious. Hopefully they'll move him as well. Where they're going to finish. Can see them in the low 60 for win totals, but then again, it's only if the division losing their starting pitching and they can hit off tees. So if it's major league pitching, let's adjust that number to mid to high 50s. The Arizona Diamondbacks, 25-35, and missed the playoffs last year. Breaking this team down, they have jumped up a few spots to the number 22 set on the preseason power rankings, and they've ultimately not done a whole lot with this offseason. The additions, they did bring in Tyler Clippard and Joakim Soraya to solidify their bullpen and add a little bit to that starting pitching. Subtractions pretty much intact from last year in a 25-win team. Our concerns, well, offense, pitching, defense. For a team that was a minus 26 in run differential in a 60-game season, it's not bad. But if you extrapolate that over a full season, it's not good. Now, we don't have a whole lot of concerns for a team that is going to run out Baumgartner, Gallen, who's injured, Merrill, Kelly, Caleb Smith, and Luke Weaver. Where things can go wrong. If they don't get anything from those starters, their bullpen, which is halfway decent, will not be able to hold down the fort because their offense outside of Kettle Marte and maybe Cole Calhoun is not going to produce a ton of runs. As last year, they did average a little under 4 runs a game. Sorry, a little under 4.5 runs a game. Scary thing is it's not the worst in the National League. In fact, not even close to it. What they need to do to stay competitive, they will need Bumgarner to have a better year. They will need Zach Gallen to stay healthy and take that next step in his career, as he does have really good stuff. Player excited to watch. I'm a big fan of Kettle Marte and still think he's one of the most dynamic players in the National League. Who I'm not excited to watch. Probably won't be watching a lot of Diamondback games this season, to be honest, so I don't have someone I can peg down. Where they're going to finish. They won't be in last place, but they won't finish higher than 4th. We have them in that 70 to 75 win range in terms of total wins. The wrap. So for the NL West, we have the Dodgers in first, the Padres in second, San Francisco Giants in third, Arizona Diamondbacks in fourth, and where they belong in the Coors last place spot, Colorado Rockies. What we are hoping here for is a season where everyone has the ability to stay healthy and so we can get back to some sense of normal. For everyone at Offside and Out of Bounds, I am Junior, and this has been your NL West preview show. And we look forward to having you join us live for our MLB show tonight on our YouTube channel, which can be found at Offside and Out of Bounds at 9 p.m. Thanks for listening. Support local, stay safe, and see ya real soon.